Hey, welcome to Apollo City Comics. I am Brandon.
And I am David.
And today we're on episode 2 of the Umbrella Academy. Today we're talking about Dallas and a little bit of Hotel Oblivion.
Yeah. What we have so far, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good stuff. What do you think of Volume 2?
Volume 2 is cool. I like Volume 2 a lot.
Yeah, so much fun. A lot of crazy stuff goes on in it.
Yeah, it seems like Volume 1 is just setting us up, letting us know what's going on. Volume 2, we get a really kind of disjunct out of storytelling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so many, like, this is happening in the future, and we don't really understand all the full picture until we don't understand the full picture until maybe the last issue. Mm-hmm. Or at last issue or 2 where everything's starting to really come together. I think it's great storytelling, man. This one's really it's really interesting. And
it is.
We talked a little bit last week about like not, is it going to answer all the questions? This one still kind of doesn't, but
at all.
But it answers some of them, I think, and maybe gives you a little more details. But then, for every detail it gives you, it gives you 10 more questions or something. So it's always something.
Definitely. That was our big conundrum of last episode, was just like, there's so many questions. What do we do? And,
yeah.
I was reading in the afterword by Gerard Way at the end of Volume 2, and he was saying that exactly what we said, is that Volume 1 set the stage. We introduced the characters, got an idea who they were, and Volume 2 is really where he starts the Umbrella Academy stories. Mm-hmm. And that's where he really, for 2 and 3 are what we have, like, that are the real core of them, supposedly. Mm-hmm. Bouncing between the two, Volume 2 was released in 2008, correct?
I believe so.
2008 or 9, something like that.
Yeah.
Something early, but pre-2010,
The original one was 2007, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we discovered previously that it was like back-to-back. Yes, it started in 2008.
Did it end in 2009?
It may have. I'll have to check that out real quick.
And then here we are a decade later. And we get Volume 3 of the Umbrella Academy, Hotel Oblivion. Mm-hmm. And it's so different, too. I feel like there was a very big jump in Gerard's writing where it was more... it wasn't as poetic.
I could see that.
I'll say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But, jumping into Volume 2, here we are, 2008.
Mm-hmm. And it did end in 2008. I checked that real quick.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
December
Nice.
2008.
Dallas, more of a punk rock feel right from the start, where you have that presidential cover and everything. The titles in this series weren't as clever as the first volume. I feel like the second issue had the cleverest issue title.
I didn't write the issue titles down.
I didn't write them down either.
Number 1, though, we have the jungle. That's the part. That's issue 1.
Mm-hmm. We have jumping into it. It starts off with a monument again, as they mentioned. How they're fighting that. And we see the rumor's power really demonstrated on the first 3 pages, where she brings they're fighting Abraham Lincoln.
Yes,
and they use the statue to shoot him in the head, and he even says the Latin
Sic Semper Tyrannis. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, a statue. John Wilkes Booth just shows up to shoot Lincoln in the back of the head, and so rumor's power is that she can suggest something into being, pretty much.
Yeah.
If she tells you that there's a rumor that something's happening, it just happens. Mm-hmm. Which is a lot of power.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The power of word.
Yeah. But rumor knows that. She knows that as a character. Mm-hmm. And they talk about it more in the issue. But she also mentions something later that, that there might be consequences to it. So I'm wondering if there's some kind of balancing to her power or not. Like for every action she takes, something else happens that maybe she doesn't intend to happen. I don't know.
Possibly.
That's just some conjecture, but I could see there being some kind of balance to that.
I could see that being part of a storyline.
Yeah, how, force or whatever, energy in the universe, it all has to equate
it's like the
somewhere.
butterfly effect when you mess up stuff in time, And that is true. That is very true. We start off with a fat space boy now too.
Yeah, Space Boy's been putting on the pounds.
Yep. The team basically went disbanded at the end of Volume 1. Mm-hmm. And they kind of, I guess the ones that are still together are just hanging out at the
ruins
basement of the academy. Yeah. Let's see. We see the memorial for Dr. Phineas Pogo, which is a really cool one. And we also noticed that Ben, the horror, number 6, his monument is pretty much destroyed on the floor as well.
Yes.
There is a mention of Morrison Park in one of the television moments.
Oh,
and
interesting. Okay.
That has to be a reference to Grant Morrison.
To Grant Morrison, yeah. I must have missed that.
And right away, this series shoots up the bizarreness. Like, just turns it up right away. What goes on in issue 1? Recap it for us.
Well, in issue 1, we have just kind of a brief introduction to some of the other characters. Like, I know Seance is at, like, a beauty parlor.
Yeah, because he's all popular from just stopping the apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly. But a majority of the issue, like probably at least half of it, has to do with number 5, who is at a dog track.
Oh, yeah.
Dog race. And then upon leaving, he gets attacked by these henchmen. And
they come back in the parking lot.
In the parking lot, yeah. There's like hundreds of them. And he just kills all of them pretty much. It's a great action scene.
They were did we finally learn their name, right? It's like Temps at Aeternalis or something?
I wrote it down here. It's Temp Aeternalis? Yeah, something like that. Aeternalis? I can't find where I wrote it. Temp Aeternalis, I would guess, or Aeternalis.
Aeternalis, okay.
Yeah, Temp Aeternalis.
Yeah, his backstory gets really intense.
Yeah, this book has so much more to do with number 5. Mm-hmm. 5 is just a huge character.
Yeah.
Some of the other characters feel a little more secondary, but especially after his role in book 1 and now in book 2, he just seems very, very important. Mm-hmm. Although I gotta say, in Hotel Oblivion,
he does see him much.
Yeah, he does take a backseat.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I think there's definitely a point to how Gerard is
bringing out the characters,
and choosing which ones to bring up at certain times.
Is this that's issue 2 where we catch number 5 with the monkey?
Yeah, that's pretty much issue 1 though. Issue 1's very straightforward.
Yeah,
introduces us to all our characters, and then 5 gets a lot of the action. Well, and that setup with those enemies is the big thing because that's a huge part of who they're going against.
Space Boy's kind of washed up on the couch, pretty depressed. Rumor is really angry because she can't speak anymore.
Yeah.
The White Violin can't remember anything.
Yeah, and is also also physically, is having issues.
Yes, she can't walk. She can't move very well.
Yeah, so Rumor is going through physical therapy with the White Violin, like helping her through it. Even though really she's the reason why she can't talk anymore.
Yeah,
she's still dealing with that
too.
But she's dealing with it at least somehow.
Takes her to wheels the White Violin to the room with all the television screens and shows her all the death and destruction she caused. Mm-hmm. God, it took me forever to say that.
Which is pretty brutal. It reminds me a lot of like Clockwork Orange.
Oh yeah, she straps down her head and everything. Yeah,
exactly. Opens up the eyelids too. I'm pretty sure it was pretty harsh.
And we see the Seance is kind of just enjoying glamour and fame.
Yeah.
Not as druggy in this volume as volume 1. Oh no, he does do some hardcore drugs later. Yeah, just not this issue, pretty much.
Just not this one.
And do we see Hazel and Cha-Cha in issue 1?
No, they show up at the beginning of issue 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They're mentioned at the end of issue 1.
Yeah. Oh, yes, because they need to send in more people after all the lackeys.
And number
got
5's like, we're already dead.
Yeah.
Seeing the actor that plays number 5, I'm happy with how he looks. I know he might look a little bit older.
Yeah.
More like a 15-ish than a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
But I think he has that ability to do what number 5's doing. If you went any younger as an actor, I don't know if they could pull it off. Seeing the fight scenes and like the intelligence and the way he speaks,
I think that's worth pointing out. Now that you mention it, it might be hard for like a little kid to pull off that role.
That vernacular and that like,
they'd have to really sell it. The other thing too is like, well, they're going to face this no matter what age adolescent they pick. But if this show goes on for 2 or 3 years, that kid's going to become much older, like physically. Mm-hmm. So,
and they might change it to be like it's an after effect. Now he's growing.
Yeah, they might have to write it in. It depends on how long the show goes and how successful it is.
I would see it, seeing that there's I've heard in a recent interview that there's 7 or 8 volumes, but in the afterword it says 8 or 9 volumes that are planned. Okay. I could see this show going on for like 4 or 5 seasons.
It could. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah.
But there's some crazy stuff that goes on in volume 2, and we're already seeing these characters in the show trailer, like Hazel and Cha-Cha. Yeah. Their fate is, or I guess they die. Spoilers for a 10-year-old comic.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess right.
So seeing them later in the show might be difficult.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Well, let's
see how it plays in. Yeah.
Let's hop into issue 2. So Hazel and Cha-Cha show up.
Is this the same diner from issue 1?
I think it is.
Seems like it.
If not, it's aesthetically the same.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like one of those, it looks like a trailer or something like that.
And then we meet Hazel, which is the dog head, and then Cha-Cha's the blue thing.
Yeah, it's like
that monkey dog blue thing.
Bear, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe,
it's hard to tell.
I could see that. And I thought the first 2 pages with Hazel and Cha-Cha were really great because right away you kind of see the dynamic and what kind of like bizarre characters they are.
Yeah, they have
that Pulp Fiction-y kind of...
Yes, and I'm glad you brought up the Pulp Fiction thing because there's a bunch of scenes in this issue that are straight like scenes from Pulp Fiction
like the
recreated.
angles of the camera and everything. Yeah.
There's some definite hits on that, which is funny because Pulp Fiction and this story both have like disjointed storytelling where you hear parts of the stories at different times. And it's also the same kind of like character thing where you have a bunch of different characters doing different actions and they only come and meet up at certain points. So a lot of similarities, I think, between this and the Quentin Tarantino storytelling kind of stuff. We see them a lot this issue though. And well, what else did you have to say about the issue before I get totally into it?
Canned apples.
Canned apples.
That's what I got to say about it.
Did I miss something? What about canned apples?
Is that in this issue where they reveal it's canned apples? There's a secret ingredient in that pie.
I don't remember.
You don't remember? That's why they chop off that dude's arms and legs.
Oh, is that what it is? Let me see.
Yeah, chapter 2. Yeah. Canned apples. They were canned apples.
Yes, that's right.
Because in issue 1, the cook was like, they offered me $2,000, and I told them they have to chop off my arms and legs.
That's
and then
right.
Angel and Cha-Cha chop off his arms and legs.
Yeah, so he's the example of what these characters are like, what the extent they'll go through, especially in this scenario where it's something pretty trivial. It's not like information that anyone really needs that's like any kind of danger or anything like that.
And we see that Lupo and Kraken dynamic a lot more into it. And I don't know. That's pretty much it for issue 2. Nothing. We are introduced to the Pegasus Corporation.
Perseus.
There you go. Perseus.
And Mr. Perseus.
Mr. Perseus there.
Although,
Ozymandias number 2.
Maybe a little bit. Now that you mentioned it, that kind of makes sense. Like controlling a huge corporation. I think Mr. Perseus kind of doesn't get a lot of storytelling time. He's kind of an ambiguous character.
Yeah, very much so. I think he only appears twice in the whole volume. But he does. They're brief appearances, but it's clear they're setting up something for that.
Yeah, they're setting up something, but it just kind of gets to me. This is a little bit of the part I don't like about Umbrella Academy. It seems maybe not necessary to bring this character up.
Not at all. Like, he was not important.
It's disorienting, especially when after all these time jumps, you're like, am I supposed to know who this is?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly, 100%.
Yeah, so that's one of my knocks against it for sure, but...
that's what brought me in... Well, when we get into Volume 3 a bit more, it's just... we see this one guy twice, and all of a sudden he's an essential character in Volume 3. Why didn't we just wait till Volume 3 to
just
put
have
those
him show up?
scenes? Yeah, I mean, it seems like page filler at a certain point.
Yeah, and a lot of these characters I really don't understand. Like, you're right about filler. It's just his contribution to Book 2. I don't know if it's important enough to have warranted it being there. Do I have any more notes on... Oh, well, the only other thing worth pointing out is that Seance is captured at the end of the issue.
Yeah, he's talking to Pogo. He's all drunk talking to Pogo, trying to find out something. And apparently Pogo tells him something. And all of a sudden, Hazel and Cha-Cha pop up out of nowhere. And it's just funny saying that, repeatedly.
Yeah, it's funny group.
Bizarre names, you know what I mean? I thought they were fun. I thought they were really clever. And I love their characteristics and their dialogue throughout all their scenes, too. And how violent they are, but just weird, you know?
It's weird.
But issue 3, I thought issue 3 was the first issue that had a cool title to it. Television or Are You There, God? It's me, Claus. But you know what? I also do appreciate in this book a lot more, and maybe a little bit in the first one too, is how he does the dialogue with the scenes in the background. Like the television scenes are kind of going along with... Yeah. And this one, it's real... forward in the first issue 3, but even issue 1 in this series, it does it. It's a kind of like Watchmen.
Yeah, I guess it is, right? Yeah, it totally could be.
But Seance, gets his ass kicked
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
And ultimately, in this issue
We
that
see
he
more
gets?
of his powers too.
I feel like he gets killed in this issue, right?
Yeah, he gets killed.
Yeah, they're
And
looking
apparently
for
he
five.
has to be barefoot to use his powers. Did I read that right?
Yeah, with his shoes on, then he can't use his telekinetic powers, or not telekinetic, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like medium powers.
Yeah.
But I guess maybe it has something to do with being grounded to the earth. That's what I was kind of thinking of when I read that.
I can see that.
So yeah, when they kill him, he's not able to use his full abilities.
Mm-hmm.
There's also the revelation that Hazel and Cha-Cha are part of this group.
Yes.
The Temp Eternalists,
Yeah.
Eternalists, and this is where we learn their name as well. They're time agents looking to kind of correct something that number 5 has done.
Mm-hmm.
And
we get number 5's backstory and how he's just like, yeah, I was coming back, but
Yeah.
I got stopped. Some stuff went on, and he's a 62-year-old man at this point, and they turn him into this crazy assassin. Friggin', they splice his DNA when they put him back together. They take him apart and put him back together, and they mixed his DNA with every killer ever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's like the greatest assassin, and they took out his empathy, which they talk about later.
Yeah.
But they've made him to be the perfect killer, so they can use him, I guess, for this organization.
Yeah.
Is ultimately what they're going on, but now they have to. Well, they have to correct something that he's done, but I guess we'll get into that some more. Mm-hmm. Seance ends up going into the afterlife.
Yes, and he meets God.
He meets God, who's a cowboy.
Oh, he's down.
I mean, that's what I always suspected.
Yeah.
I think it's cool how they do this scene, too, because Seance has been black and white, like the character.
Yeah.
And then his clothes are in color, but now the whole scene is in black and white. So
and he's in color?
Yeah. Well, like, his clothes are still there. So it kind of makes an interesting, like, little contrast.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
That I thought was pretty fun there. Well, no, I take that back. Seance is a little more... He's not totally black and white, but he's definitely, like, washed out. Typically, is what I mean, like, in the regular comic book. Mm-hmm. But basically, God tells him, like, no, dude, we're not ready for you yet. Like, it's not your time. He doesn't really give him any answers, as
at all.
You would think that God would do in the afterlife. He'd be like, well, this is where you're at now.
Well, I guess I made you. I mean, you're here. You exist. You must have done it. And also we see Rumor and number 5 talking a bit more at the end scene. And that's where that, like, fishbowl man operator guy comes into it.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, this is getting weirder all the time.
Yeah, and he's kind of telling them that they have to go fix this issue that's occurred. Mm-hmm. And Rumor is very hesitant about it. She's got this notepad she's been writing on since her vocal cords were cut.
Yeah.
And she put something, why should I care what happens to this little jerk?
Ooh.
Because the fishbowl says, and here I have it pulled up here. It's time to finish the job, to follow through with the assassination of President Kennedy, as per the original plan, preventing your past self from any interference. And I would prefer it if you came along as well, Miss Hargreaves. So, past number 5, who's older than youthful number 5, the current one, stops the president assassination, but they've realized that this has caused some kind of error in the timeline, so they need to go back
and stop him stopping him.
So they need to send himself from the future to stop his past self, and they want her to go along too because they know, she's so powerful. Mm-hmm. She says, well, why do I care? Because she doesn't like number 5 anyways. Yeah. And the fishbowl man says, well, because it turns out that 5's mom had twins.
Yeah.
So this all goes back to what we originally were reading about the lore of Umbrella Academy. This was the only set of twins. Yeah. In all of those births. Mm-hmm. So she goes, and at this point in the book, I thought the assumption was that
her and 5.
They were twins.
Yeah, exactly.
But dun dun dun, that's not quite what happens.
Find out more.
Stay tuned.
Next episode. Well, that's it. All right, guys.
See you next time.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good setup. I was super interested this entire way through. And then even jumping into issue 4, we kind of have that weird flashback scene or dream sequence more actually with Space Boy and the Rumor and coming home to like child monkeys. And then Hardigan shows up out of nowhere. Didn't think it'd be this perfect. And then we pop back with Seance and Space Boy. Space Boy's apparently his body needs to get rebooted.
Yeah. So is he a robot body?
I don't know.
Is it a robot monkey costume?
Must be.
I guess so.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, everyone.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that'd be cool if it was like, I guess that'd be easier for the show to explain the difference in how he looks, you know what I mean? Because he's actually a robot instead of a...
I wonder if you're going to get those like robotic mechanical noises when he moves.
I do that for Robot Man for Doom Patrol.
Oh, do they really?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course
I'm
they
excited
do.
for that.
We'll have to see.
We'll see. You'll like Doom Patrol at the end of this.
I don't know if I like the show. Anyway,
I don't know either, honestly.
Space Boy's been looking for Seance and Cha-Cha and Hazel? I keep
Hazel
wanting to
and
say
Cha-Cha.
Hazelnut. Hazel and Cha-Cha stun him, and that's what causes his body to be rebooted. And yeah, I guess he is some kind of cyborg. They show some wires coming out of him, too. But,
And more death scenes. Hazel and
yeah.
Cha-Cha, we lose them by issue 4.
yeah,
Shoot each other in the head.
but
But
I don't think they're dead. I think this is some kind of way for them to back out of the timeline they're in. I think. I could be totally wrong.
What? That could, I mean, so at the end of this issue, the world blows up though, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Spoiler alert. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, it does.
I mean, that resets everything because they go back just in time to fix it. So Hazel and Cha-Cha, you're right, could appear again because the timeline was basically reset.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So either way, yeah, they're probably still around in the story. They just like to making the dramatic exit.
And
Seance is back.
Seance is back. You know what I do notice, and I noticed again in issue 5 and 6, all the deaths have like headshots. I've
That's
seen
true.
so many brains getting blown out.
Yeah,
like
especially with the white violin and
Yeah.
everything. That's true.
a lot of headshots. And you know this book does have a lot of like random humor moments. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
dark
have-
humor for sure.
Dark
But,
humor
yeah.
for sure, yeah. But there's like small panels that have like little jokes. Like we have a following 2-panel thing where Kraken is trying to catch a subway because televator's broken, and then later on I'll try to find it too. But there's like a couple little single panel jokes that you're just like, yeah, just brighten up the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
So applaud that on the writing. You know what I mean? I'll give it that.
You know, I think Umbrella Academy is always playful. Maybe
Yeah.
by the way we've been describing it, it seems like heavy. The story matter. A lot of people do die, and there's a lot of conspiracies, and it is a little confusing. But it's always light.
Yeah, real
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, I mean that's what we were saying the entire last episode. It was just fun. you
Yeah, it
know?
was fun.
This one is definitely darker than Volume 1.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get this. Is this the symbol for the Perseus? The little. I don't even know.
Kind
what-
of Cthulhu looking thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that is the Perseus.
Okay. And then we're introduced back to them and how he's taking over the company. And again, we're built up to something, but I
We're
don't
not
think
really
it pays
sure.
off at all.
He's working on some kind of little sketch,
Yeah.
but we really. It seems like it's out of context. It seems like every time we see.
It looks like an outfit for himself.
It could be some kind of Ozymandias style
Yep.
outfit.
Yep. Alexander
Or
the Great.
Ozymandias. Sorry, I wasn't listening to the man himself. I don't know.
and then
Again, whenever I get to this little part of the story, it's
interrupting.
and it's not that it's confusing. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's
like
no reason
it's
for
not
it.
confusing to the point where I can't understand what I'm reading. It's just that there's no context for it, and it feels like you're pumping on the brakes every time you're trying to follow the story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Well, the issue ends with the world coming to end, but they go back in time they go back in time just in time before it blows up.
Yeah, and they use the body of Pogo. Seance can use Pogo's body.
Is it Pogo's or is it one of those time traveling guys?
It's Pogo. Yeah. At the end, they dig up his corpse. Although, Seance does say something about Pogo isn't buried here at the top of a page, and according to this guy, we're heading to 1963.
Yeah.
But it is Pogo's grave that they dug up, so
Yeah,
I was a little confused about that.
So where's Pogo's body?
They're using his body as a time machine. This other character. Well, I think it is Pogo, and maybe he's saying that this isn't Pogo in this reality, or like this isn't Pogo as he exists, because they go back in time and then Pogo's there again with them. which is what led me to think that it is Pogo's body.
I didn't think it was Pogo's body. I thought like his body was swapped out with one of these guys so that they could use it.
It could be. Which one of who guys?
Like one of these Time Force.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, it could be. Oh, well, you know what? And his body also, it does have that mask on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're right. But I wonder what they did with Pogo's body.
Exactly.
Or
questions.
Or why they bothered doing that.
Yeah.
Like, why not just keep his body somewhere else?
Yeah. So, and I don't think that's
Confusing.
answered where Pogo's body is.
Yeah, it really isn't.
But that's pretty much it for issue 5. I mean, issue 4. We jump into issue 5.
Well, you know what? The one thing I wanted to talk about at the end of issue 4, you have like this monkey detective in the room studying the crime.
Yeah.
When they find Hazel and Cha-Cha's dead body, and there's that nuclear detonator in there that those two people had.
Yeah.
And there's like the cleaning lady who's like, "Oh, that's the nuclear detonator," and then it goes off and kills everyone. But it just the matter of factness and the kind of the way that she was stating it reminded me a lot of the woman explaining the hotel diner thing.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
it was the same kind of like
Yeah.
setup. They had a bunch of cops there, and they were just trying to explain what was going on.
Yeah.
Just some regular bystander and inside all this craziness. That really cracked me up.
Yeah, that fun little humor that he throws in small panels. So good. But
Yeah, so then on to issue
6.
5.
Issue 5, my bad.
No, it's okay.
We start off in Vietnam, like Watchmen.
Yes, just like Watchmen. And there's also a weird thing where the Vietnamese people are vampires.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I was just like, I didn't understand why exactly. And then
I think he just goes all out with everything.
yeah,
He's like, yeah, they're going to question it, but
Sure.
I don't need to explain it.
yeah. Oh,
Like,
whatever. In this universe, sure. And then we have a Nightwing in here.
You know, it kind
in
of threw me off
Vietnam.
at first. I was just like, it seems a lot like him, but could it be? And then you find out, like, I thought that was a crazy way to turn the story and add a lot of history to them already. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Because there we go. Space Boy's disappeared for 2 years in the jungle, trying to kind of find himself. And you're just like, man, all right, already has this character's advanced 2 years and he's gone through something mentally. Now he's changed and now he has like a new perspective on stuff. Because when he comes back, he was hiding again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Much different from how Space Boy started in the beginning 4 issues ago.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, it's
a lot
totally
of
true.
development. I thought the mummy thing was, I mean, I think here again, the whole mummy aspect and all that was just, let's try to make it fun and exciting and nonstop.
Yeah, there are a few things in Umbrella Academy that I think aren't ever supposed to be fully explained.
Very like Hanna-Barbera.
I can
You
see
know
that.
what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo-ish, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the whole opening scene with the mummy is basically like them being attacked, and you get a very like kind of typical war story where you have like the troop, the squad, and then like some of them get killed, and they're like, "Oh, I have to keep shooting." Like it's a cool little Vietnam
We don't
scene.
know the
though.
sergeant's history. Like,
Yeah.
who is he? Like,
Exactly.
never cares. What's his past?
Pretty good stuff though. I
Yeah.
can dig it. I could dig it.
And then a strip club to pay for your science experiment. I thought that was brilliant.
Oh, I was going to ask you, what did you think about? So at the end, the guy who comes down off the helicopter at the end of the Vietnam scene, that's Klaus, right? That's Seance
Yeah,
who shows
Seance,
up.
yeah.
And who's
And
the baby that?
Well, I was going to bring that up. He said, I mean, he gives his baby to somebody at the end of it before
Yeah.
they leave Vietnam, but who did he have a baby with? I mean, at least he had the baby and didn't shoot the girl in the head, like on Watchmen.
maybe this is a direct reference to Watchmen where one of them can just be responsible. Yeah.
No, I don't know who the baby is. And they don't say who the baby is. And we're reading Volume 3, the Hotel Oblivion, and we still don't know where that baby came from.
Yeah, there's a scene where he's handing off the baby and he's speaking Vietnamese, and then they're speaking Vietnamese back. I wonder if we could look up what the translation is there, because they have the Vietnamese text. But then the lady who's taking care of his baby just responds, "Vietnam is complicated." So it makes it sound like Seance did have a kid. Like,
Well, they ask about it.
yeah, and they say it's his baby.
Yeah, it's his son. Yeah.
But, like, are we sure? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, are we sure that he didn't just find a baby? I don't know. It's really confusing.
Yeah.
But if it is his baby, like, biologically, then it would be the first time one of them has a baby.
Yeah, exactly. And I
Which would
figured
be
that'd be an
interesting.
important character later on.
Yeah, I
You
think
know
so
what I
too.
mean?
The first offspring of all these people.
And then you figure it's Vietnam. By the time they get back to their timeline, that kid's an adult,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
So who knows? A character that may or may not be visited later.
Yes.
And then they use the televator just to go into to go to the JFK assassination, because now all the characters are kind of on the same wavelength.
So the televator can not only transport you from place to place, but I guess through time periods?
I guess so. Yeah, it seems like it's able to do anything. Although, wait, well, they're not technically traveling through time here, are they?
Oh, no, they're already in that.
They're
okay,
already in
you're
that
right,
timeline. Yeah, they're just going to the JFK to Dallas.
That's right, because it's finally at the period where they need it to be.
Exactly.
And they've been trying to find a way off of Vietnam. All right, makes sense.
So, in this storyline, JFK doesn't. He does end Vietnam because he's not assassinated. Past 5 kills the assassins that are going to kill JFK, and then JFK makes a deal and trades some nuclear weapons.
Yes.
In order to end the war in Vietnam. The war's ended. We win because. You know, if we lost that war, who knows what would have happened? The whole country might have gone insane.
Just like in Watchmen.
But it turns out that this nuclear device that JFK trades is what Hazel and Cha-Cha eventually end up blowing up. That's the big twist.
Yes.
So in order to prevent the whole world from being destroyed, now they need to go back in time and fix this thing.
Yeah.
So we have 5, a bunch of the henchmen of Temp Eternals, which he killed earlier on in the book, and Rumor, traveling in a van going to the book depository. And then we have our other 3 characters. Well, it's not all the main characters, but we have Space, Kraken, and Seance heading to meet up with them, I guess. And that's where 5 ends us. Everyone's grouped together, ready to go. And then we have...
I mean, they're coming together.
Yeah, they're coming together.
Yeah, they're going to encounter each other.
They're going to encounter each other, exactly. We're building up the tension. And then we open up with 6. And at the very beginning of the book, I think it's kind of a funny little scene, but they're trying to... Hargreaves is trying to show off the Umbrella Academy kids because they're supposed to be like super smart and like above and beyond. And 5 purposefully makes like a little display that makes it seem like he's just an average 10-year-old or something.
Yeah, making a little
solar system thing.
Missing the Earth.
And it's missing the Earth, yeah. And The World is Big Enough Without You is the name of this final issue, which I think is also...
a cool title.
It's a good title.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a good one.
And also it ties into the last little captions of the story. Yeah, which was really cool. Really poetic of him, I thought. Yeah, definitely. And then we have the fight scene, and then actually number 5 does get shot. I don't think they ever touch base on that again either. Like him healing or him having to seek attention or anything.
Well, you think that he's okay ultimately, because when he gets shot, younger 5, who's also older. It shows him getting hit, and then it shows present day 5
hurting,
checking his body.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's hurting, but he's like looking down alarmed, but then it seems like it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess we're just supposed to guess that he ends up being all right. Although it does show him holding his side in a couple of these panels. I'm not sure if it's purposeful or not.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they would follow up more on that, like with an injury, I guess, but I don't know. But the coolest part of this issue is how they stop everything, and there's no more gunmen to shoot JFK.
Yeah.
But then you turn the page, and it's Rumor sitting next to JFK, and then you're just like, oh, dang, you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And boom.
And you can tell it's her because it's just like a close-up like shot of Jackie O, but then her you can still see the slit on her throat, like you can see the scar from where her throat was cut.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah. I love that whole splash page.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And then it's also explained that Rumor gained her ability to talk again by going under some kind of operation with these people.
Exactly.
But she was totally against, but needed to do it in order to
save who they needed to save.
Save who they needed to save. So at the end of this thing, they end up kind of correcting the timeline. And we find out that the real reason why Rumor went through it was because that if they weren't able to solve this timeline issue, the Temp Eternalist was just going to go back in time and kill the mother of the twins.
Yep.
But the twins weren't Rumor and 5. The twins were 5 and Space Boy. And because Rumor loves Space Boy.
Luther.
She was willing to do whatever it took to go back and get this thing done.
Yeah.
And we also get a few other things as well. Like, we get some closing scenes where it seems like Rumor's finally kind of accepted what's up with White Violin. Mm-hmm. And is just willing to be there and help her out however she needs.
Yeah.
And we just get a few more spots from our characters. But that's more or less all of 5. I don't think I have anything else in here. Oh, there was one little note that I had that I thought was funny. In this comic book, they pretty much say that there was multiple shooters for JFK's assassination, because 5 in the past, it shows him killing the shooters that were going to kill JFK, and there's 2 of them. He shoots 2 gunmen.
Oh,
so
wow.
that really cracked me up. I thought that was a funny little...
I didn't notice that little fact, actually.
A little detail that they're saying that, yes, it was multiple gunmen that killed JFK. But, yeah, man, that's pretty much all I have for Dallas.
Yeah.
What did you think?
A lot of headshots.
A lot of headshots, yeah.
Kind of a summed up Watchmen. I mean, in a big sense, we went through the same timeline.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You know, that's not helping the comparisons either, that they both take place like pretty much at the same time.
Yeah. They both deal with nuclear weapons and Ozymandias looking character that's making a costume in Vietnam.
And before we get into Hotel Oblivion, they get their very own Dr. Manhattan next series too.
That's true. Yeah. Mr. Scientific.
Mr. Science, yeah. He even points at someone and they disintegrate into like atoms or whatever.
So we're on issue 5 of Hotel Oblivion that we just read right now because it releases this week, and there's a big jump, like in I would say the art style, and I mean 10 years is a lot of time to improve or change your craft.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing that's going against it, right? No, not necessarily going against it, but you take 10 years away from a book, and it's going to be radically different no matter what you try and do. There's no way you can put yourself back in that same time period. It's way more
dense. I feel like he said a lot more in the first 2 volumes and what's being filled into volume 3.
I can see what you're saying, but I would use a different adjective. I would say that it's unfocused.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones, some of the storylines seem more purposeful. In this one, there's so many things going on.
There's a lot.
So many random kind of concepts that are kind of hard to wrap your head around. I feel like it's going to take me, I'm going to need to go, wait till the final issues come out and then read the whole thing maybe 2 or 3 times to fully, let it sink in.
We're going to for sure do a follow-up episode once, maybe cut it a little shorter, maybe 30 minutes or so.
Well, you know what? I think right now we can kind of go into what we think about it so far. You know what I mean? We don't have to go super in depth today.
Yeah.
And then when the whole thing comes out, we'll have a better idea of, because I think each of the volumes of Umbrella Academy so far, I'm totally blanking on what's the first one called again? Apocalypse Suite.
Yeah.
Apocalypse Suite and Dallas, if you were to judge them up until issue 5, it'd be kind of hard to tell. You know what I mean? It doesn't really pay off until that last issue.
Yeah. Each one of them does have their big payoff. Yeah.
And that's when it ties it together. So I guess I'm going to reserve my final judgment until we can read, which this one's a 7-part series.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does... It's not as grabbing as the other ones are. It's
not as, I guess, fun as the other ones were. You know what I mean? Definitely a lot more information. We're not necessarily getting more character background either. I guess it's just them going on to a new adventure, all of them. Number 5 is just a hired gun at this point. Number 1 and or Space Boy and Kraken are kind of going on this mission to see Dr. Zoo and going on this ship that apparently was ran by this guy that inspired Space Boy to go into space.
Yeah.
And the rumor is trying to help the White Violin still and trying to help her walk and everything. But I guess the mother is basically saying, why don't you just tell her to walk?
Yeah.
And that way she could walk and you could skip all this pain. And then she's like, no, it's not that easy. And because that's where she talks about the balance, what you were saying.
Yeah, and there's kind of 2 ways to look at it. Either one is yes, there is some kind of aspect to her power we don't understand. It could also be that Rumor is just saying maybe she's not comfortable with making it this easy for her.
Yeah.
Like she needs to learn how to do this on her own, maybe as some kind of like penitence for the actions she's committed. I don't know yet. It could be either one.
Yeah, like she feels like she needs to do this to kind of make her suffer at the same time, but also make herself Rumor feel better.
Yeah,
about
like
herself.
learn a real lesson. You know what I mean? Really kind of figure out what's going on.
And so Mother takes it upon herself to take the white violin across all these places to kind of teach her something, kind of give her some something to have to heart. Seance is on a lot of drugs this whole series. A lot of heroin trips, hanging out with the Mothers of Agony, this biker gang. And I mean, the biker gang is using using Seance to connect people with their dead relatives or dead family members or whatever
in order to find where their hidden treasures are, right?
Hidden treasures, and they make some money. And I mean, it's $3,000 just to do it. And there's that crazy sex scene with Seance and that one chick where he's channeling his that girl's husband, and then they find out information and takes him out to the desert. And dang, that's all we really know. Oh, yeah, Hotel Oblivion. Yeah, itself.
Hotel Oblivion. It's like interdimensional,
like the Phantom Zone
hotel. Yeah, they don't know exactly where it's at. I mean, to be honest, it's confusing.
It's this hotel that Hardigan created somewhere in the galaxy. Well, he's an alien too, so I guess that makes sense. And there's even a panel where it flashes and it shows like an alien looking face.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Kind of amphibian looking, which is kind of what I suspected from the first volume when they see the skin just hanging over the trash can. But Hardigan created this place for people that he didn't want to kill because he said it was too messy, but he has a place for them.
Wait, Hardigan or Hargreaves? I think
Hargreaves. Where do I get Hardigan from?
I don't know. I was like, what is he talking about?
I'm thinking of Sin City.
Oh, no, yeah, Hargreaves.
But yeah, he creates this place, and apparently this Dr. Science is supposed to watch it, and he does a terrible job at it, clearly, because everybody escapes all at once, and he barely notices. But that brings in the question, who is this Dr. Science guy?
He's Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, essentially.
He's literally like a blue guy floating in space in solitude.
Yeah,
like,
straight up.
Like, I'm not stretching for any of these comparisons. So...
but these people escape, and has like the murder magician who's really never murdered anyone. And that's where we're at.
Pretty much. I mean, just a few things that I wanted to point on. Seance is captured by these guys and then ends up taking an opportunity where, like, so that wife that he channeled the dead husband of, they're out in the desert digging up this dead husband's fortune, and the wife finds out and goes with a bunch of hired gunmen. There's a big fight scene.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems like all of the gang are killed, and Seance is able to make it out. And you think that he's gotten away, he takes the money, but then he just shoots up again, passes out.
Yeah.
And one of the surviving biker gang guys shows up, and he's like overdosed.
Yeah.
And we're not sure if he's dead yet, but he just tosses him in the garbage.
Yeah.
So it seems like Seance could be dead again, but maybe not.
That guy in the rags comes back and picks up Seance's body and takes him to the hospital.
Yeah, that's in the newest issue. That's in
5.
In 5. And who knows who that guy in the rags is? It looks very menacing at the beginning. Yeah. And then what else do we have here? We just read through issue 5, like right before shooting this thing.
But that's where they discover that dude that inspired Space Boy. Like,
yes.
I think that's where they kind of finally reveal it too, what they're doing.
Exactly, because they just kind of show that they're using a ship before.
Yeah.
And then we have Scientific Man showing up at the Perseus Corporation. And also 5 and Rumor at the Perseus Corporation for a hit.
Yes.
So we're going to have a classic Umbrella Academy finish coming up where all the characters are going to kind of come to a head at the same location.
And another thing is that Perseus finally comes into play in this volume.
Yeah.
Like we see the 3 little moments of build-up in volume 2, and then he's finally like a main character. And apparently he's somebody's son that they fought. Yeah. And he's trying to bust his dad out of Hotel Oblivion.
Yeah.
And He does. He finds him, and his dad is dead. His dad killed himself.
That's right. And it seems like maybe he was forced to kill himself. There's some kind of thing watching.
Some sort of other villain that the Umbrella Academy's faced. And the horror makes an appearance in that flashbook, too.
That's right. So we'll see. Hopefully the horror shows up more at the end of this book. That's what I would really be looking forward to.
That's the one character I want to hear more about. And also, where did I see it? I saw somewhere on Instagram where instead of 6, they had up to number 7 labeled.
Huh? What do you mean?
Like on an ad for the show. My bad.
Oh, do you mean like 7 characters?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That would be very cool.
And I'm wondering if they're just labeling 6 because Horror's dead.
It could be. It could be. Like, it could be something afterwards.
We gotta pause. Is there an image where I know they posted an image where they were kids.
In Umbrella Academy?
Yeah. Should look that up real
I
fast.
think there is, yeah, but there's still only 6 of them.
Oh, there is? You checked?
Yeah, I checked, yeah. So it's weird.
Dude,
it seems like they might be writing them out, or I don't know.
Maybe they're just going to have them appear later? I don't know, because it sounds like, that flashback just proves they had adventures with Ben previously.
Yeah.
More unanswered questions.
Questions.
We're on volume 3, and I think we have more questions than when we finished volume 1. Yeah.
Yeah, when they're kids, they still only show 6 of them.
Really?
It's so bizarre. I don't know. I'm wondering if this is the book where they're going to introduce the 7th character, because there's 7 issues. Well, look how poetic that is, Brandon.
Yeah.
7 issues will give you the 7th character.
Maybe.
That's my guess.
Hopefully.
Let me see. Is there anything else in here? In issue 4, White Violin has terrible violin posture. If you're reading this book and you're trying to figure out what good violin posture is, White Violin has awful posture. She's got some pizza hand. She's got terrible bow technique. Her pinky's all up like this in the air. She's got her legs crossed. She's not gonna. She's got terrible posture set up.
Not tapping that foot at all.
She's not. I'm not digging it. Felt like that needed to be pointed out. And also a funny thing in issue 3, one of the other ships that appears is called the Velour, which just made me think of Futurama because of Captain Zap Brannigan.
Oh, really?
It's real velour. That just really cracked me up.
That was awesome.
I don't know, man. That's pretty much all my thoughts on this new one. I'm a little up in the air about volume 3 right now.
Yeah. But we got to find out.
But we'll find out, and then we'll revisit this.
I feel like if we did cut down any of these issues at issue 4, you'd still be like, what is going on?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So hang in there.
Yeah. Next issue comes out in March and then April, and we'll try to do a quick little follow-up and maybe a recap of the series or something. We'll find out.
Couldn't hurt.
That's the Umbrella Academy as of now.
It is.
I'm just curious. You know what I mean? That's it. Like, it just builds my curiosity, and I think that's a good thing because we're not annoyed. We're not like, needs to go somewhere, because it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
And it keeps rocketing us forward to something, you know? It's not like Doomsday Clock.
I feel the opposite. I think Doomsday Clock's better than Umbrella Academy now.
Really?
I feel like it's got more purpose.
I feel like...
At least this last issue. This last series, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hotel Oblivion's been a little too up there, but...
well, I gotta take my time and read it, too.
Yeah.
I did rush through it, just to get... We'll find out.
Wow, Brandon.
Yeah, that happens. Wow. Well, anything you have to say for the pull list?
I have a couple things. Let me see here. Low's just on issue 20, everyone, and it couldn't be better. The stakes couldn't be higher. If you haven't read Low yet, I don't want to get into spoilers, because if you haven't read it, you need to read it. But the story's climaxing hard right now. It's like an all-time high.
Out still. I gotta look into Low.
Oh my gosh, dude! And I want to say that it's going to be 24 issues or 26 or something like that.
That's a nice little number.
And I forgot where it is. I think it's in the first issue. But Rick Remender says at the end of the first issue, he's like, "Okay, see you guys in 23" or something like that.
Oh wow!
He tells you how long it's going to be. But man, this story couldn't be getting more intense. The stakes just higher and higher.
And you know what? For Rick right now, Remder, the writer, his life couldn't be better right now. He has a bunch of series out. Deadly Class just hit, and he's the writer of the comic, and now it just has a TV show. Henry Rollins is in Deadly Class.
Oh, that's
I saw the first episode on, I think PlayStation has it for free right now.
Oh, cool.
Check it out.
Check it out.
It's interesting. I don't really know much about it, but if you like punk rock and a school and a bunch of teenagers, teenage assassins, that's pretty much it for you.
I mean, I'll check it out just because of how much I enjoyed Low.
Yeah.
We definitely need to do like 2 episodes on Low or something when it comes out.
Yeah.
It's too much to talk about in one.
I'm more than down. We'll
in
break
one
it up.
book. Yeah, it's great. And then the other thing I want to talk about, and maybe I've mentioned it in the past, but I finally got around to reading it.
Yeah.
Is Strange Fruit. This is great.
Really?
This is excellent.
Really?
It's by J.G. Jones and Mark Wade.
J.G. Jones
worked on Final Crisis.
Yes. Exactly what I was going to say.
J.G. Jones worked on Final Crisis. If you look at some of this art in this book, and I'm going to hold it up if you're watching the video version.
He's like,
it's just beautiful. Everything
Alex
looks
Ross
like,
almost.
Yeah. So much detail. The story takes place in 1926, 25? 1927 Mississippi, in like a very segregated part. All of Mississippi was segregated in the 1920s. There's like this giant flood coming, and they're expecting that the Mississippi is going to overflow and wash a bunch of plantations and houses away. So the white people, I don't want to make this sound so divisive. The white people in the story are basically, even though that, there's no more slavery, there's still definitely inequality. So they're kind of forcing all of these black men to work dangerous jobs for not very good wages, but because they're worried about losing their own property. So that's kind of where our story starts off. It seems just very much like you're watching Oh Brother, Where Art Thou or something, same kind of like time setting. But then this like comet from outer space lands, and this guy comes out, and he's like a black guy, but he's also like 7 foot something. He's like giant, and he kills a bunch of these like Ku Klux Klan people. It's really crazy. It's like historical fiction, I guess, which I'm always down for. All I gotta say is, if you're not comfortable with racial slurs, because it's very much like a real, kind of depiction of how people talked in
Mark Wade's a good
region.
writer. He's done some good stuff for sure.
I think it's cool, man. I need to check out a little bit more of it. I'll let y'all know when I read some more. But the art style alone is enough reason to pick it up.
I heard about it when it first started coming out, and it had some really intense reception about it when it first came out. Like, good. Like, I mean, people were just surprised about the content and surprised about. I mean, we have these 2 legendary creators on it, and they were just like, this is not what we expected for these 2 to team up. And I have an issue. I'll see if you're missing it. Just lend it to you.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I'm excited. I gotta check it out for sure.
Yeah, and I think I think it's only a 4-issue series.
Yeah.
So it could be a potential episode too. It'd be good. And the first issue is such an easy read.
I wouldn't be surprised if they adapted it to something somehow, a movie.
Could be a movie, some kind of shorts miniseries.
Nice.
What about you? Anything on your pull list this week?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I've not had time to. We just finally settled, so. We're in the new place. Everything's set up. Comic book room is the next big room to set up, but it's going to come together. And
then some videos at Brandon's. That'll be exciting.
Yes, definitely. A lot of new content. We did a couple pull list videos, and now we're doing a little bit. We're going to play with the format a little bit. So we have a lot of new content coming here.
Play with it.
And next week, guys, get ready for what might possibly be 2 episodes full of Doom Patrol.
Oh my gosh.
Probably break it up into 2 episodes, honestly. But we're going to do Grant Morrison's run, and we'll break it up into a couple series.
Okay.
And it's going to be fun. Dude.
I hope so. Oh my god.
Oh man.
I hope it is.
No. Once you read Morrison's Doom Patrol, you're going to be like, whoa.
Okay.
They take on the missions the Justice League can't take on or can't handle.
It sounds like every group.
But this is the bizarre mission.
That sounds like the tagline to Suicide Squad. That's what it says in the bottom of that movie poster. Man. They do the missions the Justice League won't.
Yeah, it's true. That's gross. It's nothing like that, though, thank God. We'll be taking on Doom Patrol, and then we're gonna try to fit in some episode reviews. It'll be fun. Got a lot of stuff coming up. A lot of content coming out. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So, thanks for tuning in. That's the Umbrella Academy. We'll do a follow-up as soon as we finish this series. As soon as April hits, we will do something on the last little bit of Volume 3. We might just include it into an episode.
Wow, man. Calm down.
Frank's going to yell at me for that.
Calm down.
There's a bump in the audio. And
That's a terrible Frank impression.
That's a terrible Frank. Whatever. All right. Well, that's it, guys. Signing off from Apollo City. I'm Brandon.
I'm David.
And you all have a good one. Subscribe.